Hello, and welcome to Los Angeles Christian Health Center's Let's Talk About It podcast. I'm here with another entry into our special episodes interviewing our Consumer Advisory Council members. Today, I'm here with Elizabeth, and we're going to talk a little bit about her and learn about her journey. So before we get started, I want to make sure that we open up this session in prayer, Elizabeth. And so would you mind leading us in a brief prayer?
I don't mind.
Okay.
Let's pray. Father God, I want to thank you for today. Thank you for giving us life and your breath of life, God. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to share our story, God, to touch lives and to glorify your name and to win souls and change lives. And we just pray that you lead and guide us, and let's do everything in order and with respect to you in every way possible. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So when I think about Elizabeth, I always think of just regal poise and care. Like I feel like you're such like a caring person in the group, right? And that's how I would describe you, right? But how would your friends and family describe you?
It's interesting you say that because my family and friends use the same word often, and I just love people. Even when I went to school, I studied psychology because I wanted to understand why people struggle or suffer or go through challenges, mental well-being and such. And it just always felt like I was brought up in a family where you put others before yourself and you learn how to love through loving others, the love of God. So I really, really do care.
So I really did see you like other people see you.
You see me. Yes.
I probably see you because the whole idea of putting others before yourself is probably something that I've dealt with a lot.
Yes.
This is not on the script, but one of my greatest revelations is the recognition of the second commandment that that God commands us to love our neighbors as ourselves.
Yes.
And I never paid attention to that last part.
Yes.
I paid attention to love your neighbors, but I can't love my neighbor if I'm not loving myself.
Yes.
And so I've spent some time doing that, because if you're loving other people but not loving yourselves, what is going on with that, right? Because you can do for other people, but not really pour into yourself and not really grow yourself or take care of the things that are dealing with you. So I relate to that, and I see you as a caregiver, a caretaker, because I can relate to that.
Well, thank you. But you've mentioned a very, very good point, because for me, I missed that last part also, because I forgot myself and I thought if I don't love others or put them first, I became a people pleaser, and I was lost in that, in trying to see somebody else do better. And then you become kind of caught up in the syndrome of feeling like you're not good enough, and you want to see somebody else excel because maybe you can't face that challenge, but you want to support everyone else. So I went through that too, and that really stood out to me in that in the Bible, like love others as I love myself. But it's kind of like when you're drowning, save yourself first, and then you're able to save someone else.
Yes.
Yes. But it took me a while to learn that.
No, I think that it is, I feel like it's, I don't feel like the learning is a straight, narrow thing. I feel like there are levels to it.
Absolutely.
There are levels to loving yourself and loving others. There are levels to it. You do wherever you are, that's where you start.
Yes.
But you don't have to stay at that level. You can
And no matter the age, there's always so much more to learn and grow. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm in my 40s now, and I feel like I'm just barely scratching the surface of who I am.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing.
It's amazing.
That's
God is
amazing.
good.
I think it's a gift, really, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It's a gift to have that, because some people they don't see themselves in that way at this age.
Yeah.
They see, they don't see great possibilities. They
Yeah.
see, oh, I've lived my life, I've done this, I've done that.
Or they
But
see old.
yes, oh yeah, give
And
the
that's
old,
sad
yes,
because
get in the
some people
rocking
don't
chair.
get to see old.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel blessed to see. I just turned 43 on Saturday.
Happy birthday! That's right. I saw that on Facebook. Happy birthday!
So it was a really good birthday.
Okay, good. Your first, we'll get into that later, but let me ask my questions. So tell me, how did you end up in Skid Row, and how did you end up as a Consumer Advisory Council member?
Well, how I ended up on Skid Row, it was in 2015. But what led up to Skid Row was in 2012, I went through a really hard divorce. And my ex-husband at the time, because I do suffer from bipolar disorder, and so with the depression and the manic episodes, he thought I was on drugs. And there was no testing, they just took my children, and he applied for immediate custody, and he got it, and I just like sunk into the worst depression. And I remember just tried to take my life. I was in a coma for 3 weeks. And then for 2 years later, my sister invited me to California because our father passed away. And she said, come here and let's grieve together. And then I come here. She lived in Glendale, California. And she had a partner that was very opposed to our relationship. She just felt like it took away from what they had. And my sister had moved the person from another state. And so she felt like, well, I can't abandon them. And in my frustration and still probably dealing with manic episodes or depression from what I went through, I just packed a backpack and hit the streets. I was like, I can't be a burden to anybody else. I can't get tangled up in making somebody else go through something. I need to figure myself out. I have a sister in Texas. She offered for me to live with her. I said no because sometimes with families, their way or the highway, and I knew I'd probably end up homeless in Texas anyway. And my brother in Minnesota invited me. I don't do good with really cold weather because that sinks me deeper into the clinical depression. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. And I just took the backpack, hit the streets, and through Compton, somehow ended up on Skid Row because I didn't know anywhere. I was just taking the trains and somehow got off on downtown. And I just remember like a few days later asking a guy walking by, do you have anything I can eat? And he said, well, I'm going to a restaurant. You can come and we'll share my plate. And that was my introduction to Skid Row because out of nowhere comes this baby mother, and she beat me up worse than I have ever been attacked. Yes.
Okay, so you meet a guy.
A stranger. And he looked well put together. And I'm like, sir, I'm just so hungry right now. Please, do you have anything I can eat? I'm not trying to get money for anything else. And he invited me to eat with him. And
then his lady comes in.
And his lady comes in, and he says, oh, there goes the mother of my kids. And I said, oh, I'll just introduce myself. He said, it's not like that. And I was just yanked from the back, and she brutally attacked me, and I passed out. I woke up in county hospital, and they said, whoever beat you up saved your life, because I have anemia, and I wasn't making blood. My body was just completely depleted, and they did a blood transfusion, and they said I was out for like 2 days, and so, thankfully so, she saved my life because I was just walking around. But after that, was still not having anywhere to go. Because on the streets, people don't realize, probably by the first week, you've lost a phone, somebody has stolen from you, or you've jumped off a bus too fast and left your bag. So you end with resources just depleting faster than you think possible. So that's how you end up in places like Skid Row. And So that's how I ended up in Skid Row.
How did you get into the mission? How did that happen?
The LA mission came about years later because, like I mentioned, that was 2015. My first time trying the Los Angeles Mission Drug Rehab Program was in 2019, I want to say, but it was all court ordered because while in the streets, I had the resentments of the divorce, and so here I am. Well, my kids got taken because they said I was on drugs. I might as well do drugs. I don't care anymore. I don't have nothing to live for. So somebody had introduced me to crystal methamphetamines, and I started doing drugs heavily. And for me, already struggling with mental wellness, it affected me tremendously, where I would see things, I would hear voices, I would think people are attacking me, so I would attack back somebody that's not even attacking me. I would feel like I'm defending myself and carry a knife. So when the police would be involved in situations like that, just having a knife is an assault with a deadly weapon without using it, just having it. Or just the point of you being homeless, you always get the same charges because they go by your background. That's how I feel. I could be wrong, but I felt that way. I felt classified like, oh, she's just a Jane Doe. Sometimes I'd give my name and I'd be listed as a Jane Doe in jail, But by God's grace, they have a mental health court, and I got accepted into the mental health court, and what they do, they give you a chance to integrate back into society, and they send you 2 programs like the Ann Douglas Center, and that's how I ended up at the Los Angeles Mission. And I was ordered to do, I think, 60 days. And I asked to do the year because the mental health court comes with housing, but the housing is filled with drugs and drug dealers, and just not the best environment for somebody trying to overcome that lifestyle. So I asked the judge if I could please do the year. And he said, that's what you need anyway. So I said, I agree. So it worked out, and by God's grace, right before I finished, the court also provides housing. So that's how my apartment came about. And they just provide mental health, housing. That's how I also connected with places like Joshua House, because I use the pharmacy here, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot. From number one, being a Black woman with a mental health diagnosis, and living on the streets, and getting addicted, and trying to find your way out of that. How has all of that really fed into kind of what your lookout is on today? Well, I should say that I know some great things about you. Like, I know that you've completed the program. I know you got your own place. You're stable, caring. I talked about how I know you. You're a newlywed, and I'm just that's a big turnaround.
Yes.
What has it been like, or what is your end goal? What is the next thing for you?
Well, I believe in nothing else saved me but God. My faith in God, honestly, saw me through it. And I remember one day speaking to my older sister, who was still asking me to move to Texas. And the first day I moved to California, I don't know how to explain it, but I fell in love with the place. And I've never fallen in love with the place. I just thought that happens with people. But I knew this is where God wanted me. I didn't know how it's going to work out. I remember my family would always say, there's no way out of that cycle. You have to move because it's so expensive out there. It's not going to work. And I just know that one thing I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt, all things are possible with the God that I serve. So it's life-changing because He died on the cross for me and promised He resurrected for me. So there's nothing I can't come out of with His love and His grace. And I believe that's what brought me out. And what I look forward to now is using my lived experience, my education, my opportunities, like on the student council board member opportunity to impact other lives and to see other women like me come out of those situations, to see somebody on the street. When I see a homeless person, I see myself. When I see a person with nothing to eat, I remember those days when I was hungry. I remember those days that my food stamps hadn't come in and I was still needing something to eat. And so I don't see just hopelessness, I see hope. And it's so funny, the word up there says hope. And for me, it's really encouraging to believe and know that there's nothing impossible. So when all these faces on Skid Row, I just see hope. I just see like when I pray for the lost and the homeless and the mentally ill, I pray for God to bring his spirit of revival in this area, because I don't want to throw anybody off, but I'm a big believer of like territorial demonic bondage. And so it can take over areas and just make up depression or drug use or just take over. And we have to claim our territories back. We have to intercede for others. We have to care enough to want to see lives change. So that's where I'm headed. That's what I see. And right now I also have the opportunity to be in a LA County PLACE program, to be training to hopefully get an employment with them as an intermediate clerk, but it's with the Department of Mental Health where my passion is. So I've been learning a lot through that. It is a little stressful because I haven't been in a class setting for a long time, but when you don't challenge yourself, you don't grow. So it's been exciting, and I'm excited to be a newlywed again. I'm excited to do it better than a 20-year-old. I was looking back, I said, I took that other one through. You see yourself, you know? And so I'm learning to be a better wife.
Yes. We just hope there's some reciprocity on both sides, because we all have to, that second time around, right?
And you know, through the course, like I said, I have been reunified with my children. I have a friendship with my ex-husband. And I remember one point though, I talked to him on the phone, and this was probably 2017, the anger just came out. And I said, you called me a drug user, and that's what I became, and you lied. And he said, that's what it looked like. I didn't understand anything about mental illness. I didn't understand about depression. I thought people had a choice. I thought people fell down out of choosing. And I said, you know, it runs so deep in my family that I felt like that's why I leaned towards studying that, because I wanted to understand it. But for some people, I came to learn, like, they're not exposed to that. And it's brand new to them. So the forgiveness and God just showing me, you know, he really didn't mean that. And us just raising our children the best we can as a team, and courts not being involved. And I see my children anytime. My son is coming for the summer. It's just exciting. And my husband has 5 children and I have 2. So we already have a grandbaby.
Yes. Are you going to be called Nana?
Grandma.
Oh, Grandma. Okay. Okay. You're too young.
Call me Mama.
Okay, Mama.
I've never even thought about it.
You'll never know. We'll see what the baby says.
Whatever they want to say.
Yes.
Maybe Gigi.
Yes, I like that.
Gigi.
I like Gigi. That's cute. Mama.
Mama, that's so southern, huh? You know I'm from Tennessee. Mama.
What would you want people to know about how mental health impacts someone's ability if they're homeless? How does that impact their ability to get housing, get health care? Like, you know, it seems like you came to a point where you were like, look, I just have to figure this out. I don't want to be a burden, and you just left.
Yes.
Um, and in doing that, you figured out whatever it was that you needed to figure out on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned that the help really came from you going into the hospital.
Yeah, and going into jail.
Going to hospital and to jail, and that those were the places where there was an opportunity for other help to come in.
Unfortunately, the opportunity comes in because mental health has a tremendous impact on the homeless. I think they say probably over 70% of homeless people have a mental health problem, because that challenge makes it so hard to get out of the cycle, because when you add drug use to that, now it complicates everything so much, because they don't know if they're looking at your mental health problem or are they looking at the drug use. So it comes with judgment, it comes with family resentment, it comes with blaming yourself, feeling like, why am I so weak? Because some people tell you you're not strong enough, why can't you fight through it? And you're not being yourself. But what saved me, and I thank God for that, when you go to jail, they start first by checking your mental well-being. And when you see the doctor, it's not just the checkup, it's the psychiatrist comes in and asks you a lot of questions about your past and your family history. And I thought that was the main thing that helped. But for me, it was the mental breakdown was so deep that I wasn't even able to go to court. I wasn't, what do they call it? I wasn't competent to stand trial. I wasn't competent to do anything, because when you mix mental health illness with drug use, especially methamphetamines, because it's an upper, so it speeds up everything, and a manic episode is doing the same. It's speeding up everything. So now everything in your brain is just at 1,000-mile speed, let's say, for example, and you can't slow down, you can't stop talking, you can't stop hearing voices, you can't stop seeing things, and all that's happening at the same time. So I went through that for, I want to say, 6 months in county. And so that's how the door opened for me to get into mental health court, because they're just like, we don't even know if she's going to come back to herself. And by God's grace, they sent me to a state hospital, and I think I was there 2 weeks, and they said, nothing's wrong with her, send her back. And then I got accepted to the mental health court, and the opportunities to come back into society and be given a chance, and opportunities that help through the Department of Mental Health to come out of that cycle. But it is very difficult. But at least they try at the lowest points. Like I said, institutions, jails, that's the main places these days where they connect people to help, to housing, to medication, to counseling, to psychiatrists. So I'm required by the court to have a psychiatrist. I'm in therapy, I take my medication, and every 3 months they just check and see if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, because I'm on probation until December. But after that, they don't want to just let you go. They want you to show them your game plan of how you're going to keep your mental health a priority.
How are you keeping your mental health a priority?
Well, prayer, meditation. I try my best to eat healthy until I see French fries. And then, I walk maybe 3 times a week when I get a chance, reading, talking to family, just getting back into, I know for some people it's so simple, but everyday life is so new. Because when you're on the streets, your mind is racing all day, like, where will I sleep tonight? What will I eat? Where will I shower in the morning? And so many resources have come up these days. I'm not wishing for anybody to be on the streets, but They have places to shower, places to wash clothes. The shelters are more shelters than ever before. And that is all well and good. But in my time of being homeless in 2015, the resources weren't that many, you know, and people don't realize a lot of people end up on Skid Row because that's where they put the shelters. So people think I'm coming in to get help, but they're also coming into a battleground, and it's harder to get out than other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we don't, the mindfulness of just every day is really, routine. I love that you mentioned that part of your taking care of your mental health is talking to friends, you know, praying, meditating, walking, reading, taking the medication, and that is a lifelong, that's a lifelong journey. It's like if you're gonna put on a shoe, you always gotta put, you have to open it up, like you gotta put the shoes on. So that's awesome. You're a council member, and the group is really about training up leaders, or really helping leaders to expand and to incorporate their lived experiences. I know you're on the council, I don't know if you're still on the council because you graduated out of the mission. Are you still on the council even when you've graduated out of the program? Do you still get to be on the council at the mission?
Not at the mission.
Okay.
But I never thought of myself as a council member connected to the mission. I just strictly thought it was just Joshua House.
Yes.
And I thought we just meet there.
Yeah, well, right. Well, what I mean is when you came into the council because you were in the student, you were in the student body. So now that you're not in the mission anymore, you're not really in that group.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Because at the time when I came in, for the student body, I was the vice president
Yes,
under Jose.
okay, you were officer, yes, okay.
And that's how we got connected. But I remember you did open it to the whole student body. And so that opportunity, when it came up, I just wanted to learn more about what we learn in the council, like running a meeting, taking notes, working with the community, seeing lives change. You know, it's really impacting. And it also is time consuming, but it was a 10-month commitment. So I pray to God I see it through.
You're doing great.
Because it is challenging with the work that I'm doing, the schedule that I have is very, very challenging. But like I said earlier, with God, all things are possible. Yeah.
So I know that you are getting settled into your place, and I feel like you're experiencing that, you know, everything's new again. And then you probably thinking of hopes for a job, or, you know, what would be your ideal next stop? I know you're training for the clerk position or whatever, but ultimately, what would you like to do?
Believe it or not, that's kind of like my dream job, because even though it says clerk, it's actually anywhere they need you in the Department of Mental Health. So it opened doors to be a community worker. It opens doors to work in the hospitals, psych hospitals. It opens doors to do anything that pertains to mental health. And so that just for me feels like that's me in a book. You know, please give me a chance to see somebody come out of what I went through. You know, I just feel like it would be the perfect fit. And until God opens another door, because they came to the Los Angeles mission to recruit. And that's how I found out about that. So it just feels so God-led, you know, like I didn't go looking for it. I didn't know how to get in there. And what they do, the class is just about 30 people, and you're all being interviewed together, trained to do the resume together, applying together, and then they close it off to the thousands of other applicants that are go to the county website. And so we're just competing between the 30 people.
Do you know how many places they're gonna How
They
many people
have
they're going to place?
places for all of us if we get
Okay.
accepted, but there's
Okay.
testing. We have to pass the county exam. Also background, but they are a fair chance. So I pray about all that. But you know, my prayer every day is, God, is that your will? And I know there's so many doors in California to work with mental health, so I don't feel limited or scared. But down in the future, my other big dream is to be a motivational speaker,
Okay,
and
okay.
that's where my heart is.
Okay, well, this is motivating. I could see that. I could see that. I could see that for you. The group, the consumers are working on a project. We're calling it the Cornerstone Project, and we kind of had group discussions about what should we do. And you know, you were so sweet and wanted to help a person, an individual that you had encountered, and I just think that that's really the heart of what leadership can do, which is inspire. You've been through a thing and overcome a thing, and when you see that thing that you had to deal with on someone else, you want to help.
You
want
do want to help.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get disappointed because some people want to be helped in a specific way, and it has to be their way or the highway. And unfortunately, help doesn't come packaged in a pretty gift of how you want it. It's take the help or leave it. Just like how I chose to go through my journey by myself without my family, my siblings. I wanted to find myself, and I knew God would be with me. But for someone else, it's kind of like, do you want to go to the appointment? You might need to go to the appointment to get housing. Oh no, I don't want to go to any appointments. Well, I can't help you. You're tying my hands. And so those points are frustrating and kind of heartbreaking. But yeah, so you get disappointed and you get up and you knock on another door and see another face that wants help, and they might be more willing to try the things you suggest. So yeah.
So you've learned a bit about the Joshua House and LA Christian Health Centers, and really, I haven't mentioned this in any of the other series of these conversations, that we're coaching or helping to expand your leadership capacity, but also we ultimately want some of you to be on our board, to be board members, and to actively be engaged in kind of the work that the board does, and kind of monitoring and making sure that the organization is living up to its mission, vision, and values. And it's really difficult to do that when you don't have enough people who have that lived experience. So you guys, you're very important to this work. You're very important to the healing of others who've walked in your path. And I wanted to just ask you about if there's any particular occasion along your journey that you've been on that you think it's really important for people to understand about someone who is trying to get out of the cycle, and what kind of help and support means the most.
Well, I would have to actually go back to Joshua House being one of my first big supporters, because I remember I was a patient with Joshua House for years, and the dentist prayed with me. And I didn't know doctors do that or dentists do that. And he just said, "Oh, do you have anything you'd like for me to pray for you for today?" And it was just like across from the Los Angeles mission, and it was just a small little rooms, but they were so passionate about what they were doing. And I felt like my burdens lifted that day, you know, and they tell you about a lot of resources. At the time, I just remember really struggling with my wallet had been stolen. So I couldn't prove who I was in so many ways because I'm not from America. Being from Africa, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I didn't have the documents. I didn't have an ID. I didn't have insurance. And Joshua House would treat me. And that really helped in a time of trouble. And so hope comes from so many places, and it's so many doors are open, but we have to pray that the people are willing to get help, because it goes back again, like for a person like me, the mental health. If your mental well-being, or like you said earlier, if you don't love yourself first and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not able to see exactly what it is that you do need. Because you know what? California has really taught me that a person does need the basic needs met. You really do. You really do, to feel human, to feel alive. You do need your basic needs met, and having a roof over my head. Sometimes the enemy comes in and is like, oh, what if you end up homeless? And I'm just like, that is not an option. I'm not looking back. God has provided for me. He'll keep providing for me. He didn't bring me out to see me look back, you know, and I encourage myself in that. But it could happen to anyone. It really could. The people that think that would never be me, I was probably one of those, because in college I did my internships and missions. I went to Chicago and worked at a drug rehab, and I never thought of that side, but hindsight, God was preparing me for what I was going to go through, you know.
Well, and even preparing you as a gift to others too, you know what I mean? So thank you so much for talking with me, Elizabeth, and sharing your story. And sharing your inspiration. You are an inspiration. I'm excited about what's to happen next for you. Yes. I want you to keep going. Don't give up.
Maybe a baby.
Oh, what? Well, if you have a baby, you're going to come back and talk on the podcast, because we're going to talk about that. Well, thank you again, and thank you everybody for joining us. That's it.